Israeli protesters have shut down streets in Tel Aviv, demanding the release of hostages and the political end of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Anger has been growing inside Israel as the Gaza war drags on for now more than 200 days, with some Israelis angry a hostage release deal still hasn't been reached. Our Middle East correspondent Alison Horn has been at the protests in Tel Aviv.
Well, every week, thousands of Israelis come from across the country to gather here on the streets of central Tel Aviv, protesting against the government of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The reasons for being here are varied, but the one thing that threads this whole community together is the 130-odd hostages that are still being held captive inside of Gaza. And they say they are angry and frustrated at the actions of the Netanyahu government, and what they say has been an inability to negotiate a deal to get those hostages out. Some of them say that Mr. Netanyahu has put revenge before a diplomatic attempt to get these hostages back into Israel.
We want our hostages to come home, and we don't have trust or faith in this government and what it's been doing for a long time, but it's now, we have to have the change.
What is it you think that they haven't done right?
I think the problem is that we don't know, and I don't trust Mr. Netanyahu and the other people in the government to be, not all of them, but to be doing as much as they can to bring the hostages home.
I particularly feel awful because of these 133 hostages that are being kept there with no obvious attempt by my government to release them. We are really angry at the government for irresponsible, slightly crazy, I would say, leadership. It is obvious that the only way to do it is to stop the war, to have a lasting ceasefire. This will bring, in exchange, of course, of bringing the hostages.
You hear the protests here. They're saying elections now. They want Benjamin Netanyahu and certain members of his cabinet to resign. They say that is the only way they feel that they will be able to push ahead with actually securing a deal to get the hostages back into Israel. That's not a position that the Prime Minister is entertaining. He says he will not resign. There will not be early elections, although you can feel from the crowds here there's passion and anger. They say they will continue to come out here every week until they get what they want.